Alrighty guys, we're back for Aggro Squirrels, and this is a Bloomburrow standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. We got all four Vinereap Mentors. This is a 2-mana 3/2 rock and Golgari colors up there. When it enters or dies, create a food token. A nice little value creature. I like it. We got 4 Bushy Bodyguards. This is a 2-mana 2/1 rock and offspring for 2. And then when this creature enters, you may forage. If you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Okay, now for the offspring for 2, you may pay an additional 2 as you cast a spell. If you do, when this creature enters, you create a 1/1 copy of it. And then for foraging, to forage, you exile 3 cards from your graveyard or sacrifice a food. I don't think it's going to be unheard of to actually save this as a 4-drop in here, because I think getting a couple more squirrels on the board for 4 mana and then potentially foraging off of both of them sounds pretty decent to me. Then we have 4 Valley Rotcallers in here as well. This is a 2-mana 1/3 rock and menace. When Valley Rotcaller attacks, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of other squirrels, bats, lizards, and rats you control. Now, it's too bad that that does not say frogs on there too, because we have some frogs packed in. We have all 4 Valley Mightcallers. This is a 1-mana 1/1 rock and trample. Whenever another frog, rabbit, raccoon, or squirrel you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on Valley Mightcaller. So even though the Mightcaller doesn't work with the Rotcaller's ability, at least the Rotcaller works with the Mightcaller's ability. So yeah, hopefully this will be worth having a 4 of each of those in here. We also didn't have too many great options for 1-drops for the list. So, I mean, Mightcaller is a pretty powerful card. We do have another 1-drop, though, packed in with 2 Bonecache Overseers. This is a 1-mana 1/1. You can tap it, pay 1 life, draw a card. Activate only if there are 3 or more cards left your graveyard this turn, or if you've sacrificed a food this turn as well. So essentially, like, if you foraged, but then also there might be turns where you pop a food without foraging, right? With like the generic food ability. Yeah, there's not too much card draw packed in. I think that that ability will actually come in handy every now and then. Might as well finish going over the rest of the front end here. We have a cut down, as well as a couple hard-hitting questions. These can totally be just your removal of choice. We have a couple Lavaspur Boots as well. The haste is really why it's in here, but we do have a small artifact theme packed in, if it wasn't obvious from all the foods, right? We have a couple tough cookies to fit that, a small artifact theme. You know, 2 foods for the price of 1, but then that middle ability really does come in handy. We have a Tear Asunder. The kicker cost might be a little steep for a deck list like this. We have 22 mana, so spending 4 mana on spot removal is pretty steep, but honestly, there's a lot of artifacts and enchantments that we can successfully hit with Tear Asunder and be very happy about it. Like a temporary lockdown, for example, would be pretty devastating for this list. So we also have a couple of Pawpatch Formations to help us take care of those temporary lockdowns. It's a 2-mana instant speed. You get to choose one of these. Destroy target creature with flying. Okay, that's not bad. That actually has some good targets in standard, like Slick Shot Show Off and stuff. Or destroy target enchantment, temporary lockdown, right? There's a bunch of other enchantments too that we wouldn't mind hitting. There's some talents. We're seeing Caretaker's talent and stuff, you know? So and then the bottom ability, or you can draw a card and create a food token. Nice. I actually really like this card. I think it'll do the thing today. Onwards to the 3-mana spot. We have 3 Patchwork Banners, 3-mana artifact. As it enters, choose a creature type. Squirrels. And maybe sometimes frogs, but I doubt it. Maybe sometimes. It depends. Maybe you have like 3 Mightcallers on the board. Then you might call frogs, right? So now creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. And then you can tap this to add 1 mana of any color. I like it. We got 3 Camellia, the Seedmiser. 3-mana 3/3 with Menace, and other squirrels you control have Menace. Actually pretty good, man. Now, whenever you sacrifice 1 or more foods, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Nice. Then for a 2 mana, you can forage. Put a +1/+1 counter on each other squirrel you control. Awesome. Got a couple Honored Dreyleaders. This is a 3-mana 1/1 with trample. When it enters, you put a +1/+1 counter on it for each other squirrel and or food you control. Now, whenever another squirrel or food you control enters, you put a +1/+1 counter on Honored Dreyleader. Neat card, man. I hope it does a thing today. We have a couple of Bristlebud Farmers here on the top end. 4 mana 5/5 with Trample is no joke, but then when it enters, create 2 food tokens. Then when it attacks, you may sacrifice a food. If you do, mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand. So potentially another way to help us keep the hand nice and stocked up. We got our fast land over here in the mana base with our Marsh, the Wastes. We do have slow land with a single Restless Cottage, which I think will be fine. We have a couple Cavern of Souls calling Squirrel more often than not, but again, you might call Froggy every so often too. Wait a minute, are there any other like warriors in here as well? We got druids and warlocks. Are there Yeah, the Dreyleader is a warrior too. So I guess there might be like some hands where you have like a bunch of Mightcallers and a Dreyleader. So you might call like warrior on the cavern. But yeah, I mean, I guess you never know. Anyways, we also have a Mirrex over here to potentially just generate more artifacts and stuff. Oakhollow Village and a Mudflat Village leaning towards the green because that's what the deck is leaning towards. Some honorable mentions, guys. Tail Swipe could be the choice over Hard Hitting Question, but I think Hard Hitting Question has some pretty good Planeswalkers to target, particularly Liliana. I'm seeing a lot of Liliana. Feed the Cycle is definitely a removal spell to keep your eye on for this type of deck list for sure. So honorable mention for a very good reason. Okay, guys, I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, and see how we do. Right into that first game, guys. What am I expecting from the build? I don't know. I have no idea. I hope it's good. Well, obviously, right? I don't think it's going to be janky, actually. That's what I think. Maybe it'll land somewhere in the middle. Whoa, Fountain Port Bell. And an island on top, huh? Okay. Okay. Overseer number 2 was the draw. And it's probably Vinereap Mentor next turn. But I wouldn't mind establishing the Rotcaller. Maybe start swinging. Fountain Port Bell number 2, guys. And a case? Oh. Oh. Did they already solve this? They did. Because it enters Investigate. Turn 2, they solved this. So now they can pay 3, sacrifice it. Put 4 +1/+1 counters on a target non-creature artifact. It becomes a 0/0 bird with flying. They find their 3rd mana. That's a pretty good lineup for the opponent, man. So Rotcaller number 2, huh? So just like getting the Rotcallers down is probably a little bit better here. And I guess we'll swing. Well, I'll play the Rotcaller just because. It's good practice to save for main phase 2, but I'm also very like a hasty player, you know? I just like to play the cards. So when I have an opportunity, the opponent's tapped out anyways. Yep. That's pretty good. That's a good lineup. I really like the opponent's list. I'm kind of excited to see more of it. Okay, gonna need some mana here soon, but it's gonna be Valley Rotcaller number 2. And this time it actually affects the combat. So we want to do it beforehand because it affects the first Rotcaller. Yeah, double Rotcallers, that should be very scary from the opponent. But you know what we should be scared of? Oh, okay. All right. I was about to say it, and sometimes I say it as they're playing it. But no, Brotherhood's End would be really, really bad. Tear Asunder is a great draw, dude. We can successfully take care of this Gear Drake. However, just like playing more Squirrels is probably better, right? Probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah, Tear Asunder can take care of the 4/4, or we can take care of this Gleaming Gear Drake before it gets out of hand too, but this is totally fine. I'll save the Overseer back. Well, that's a good trade for us though, right? Because we just have more Squirrels to play next turn anyways, and taking care of the Gear Drake now from an Overseer trade, that's just like not terrible, is it? Except they can buff it this turn, and I'm not paying attention to the board state, bro. Oh, no. Technically, just a straight up misplay there on my part. I apologize, guys. No removal from the opponents for, like, the first... all of the game. They still have a mountain here. They go ahead, they save all the blockers back, because these are very menacing. And luckily, we saw some mana, so now we just play as many squirrels as possible and just swing with the Rotcallers, right? Yes, yes we do. So we get the Bodyguard down. Finding the third mana on time was pretty good. And it's not going to be removal out of their hand. I'd say we got a little lucky here, guys. Not having our squirrels get removed and stuff. I'm going to decline. And then we swing. Don't have to swing with the Mentor because the Valley Rotcallers end it. I think we got lucky. The opponent not finding any removal, or maybe they didn't have a lot of removal packed in. I had that misplay with the swing on the Overseer, like thinking that it was going to trade. But of course, they had these bells in here for a good reason, right? And they had 1 mana open. Easy sacrifice for the opponent to buff the Gear Drake. Guys, look at how freaking cool the opponent's Is It deck list is. I'm a little bit sad. And I can't even say like that I wanted to see more of their deck list because they actually have a lot of it on display here. I wonder how many of these cases they have packed in. And I also wonder if they have all 4 of the bells packed in too. We gotta revisit Is It artifacts sometime soon. I actually really like how that bell works with that Gear Drake as well. Another reason why we got lucky that game too is actually just the double Rotcallers. Like, we didn't have to see both of those, but the fact that we did and then neither of them got removed. Then we also saw the third mana right on time to actually get 2 more squirrels down as well. So there's a lot. There's a lot that lined up really well for us. So hey, maybe it's not luck. Maybe it's how the deck list is put together, right? I guess we'll find out. Great hand. Yeah, I like seeing the formation and Tear Asunder in our opener too. When we're going first. I really am seeing that much temporary lockdown. You guys have probably been hearing me scream it for the last couple weeks. Oh yeah, dude, temporary lockdown build coming up. What do you guys think? Probably. Get the Mentor down. Going first here was huge, for sure. Removal? It is. It's an Elspeth Smite. Oh, well, it was still worth the swing, right? Like, we don't want to not swing in fear of an Elspeth Smite. Hard-hitting question, not going to have any targets. We're going to need to find some mana, and I would not mind trying to find it off the formation here since we still have Tear Asunder here. So we'll start with a swing, see what happens. It is not another smite. That's good news. So we could do this at instant speed, but if we see a land, we want to play the land because it might be more land underneath and curving out properly for the farmer. Yeah, so we want to draw on our turn. Also, if it's a counter spell, that's not a terrible counter for us. It's going to be a deduce. We do not find the land, unfortunately. We'll find it. We'll find it. There it is. All right. So Patchwork Banner, call Squirrel. That way now we don't have to find the 4th for the farmer. This would be a really good counter for them. It does affect combat, so we're going to go for it. All right, Squirrel. That's a 4/3. Also, technically, if we had something to hit, we could still play the hard-hitting question this turn. But we don't have anything to hit out there. 4th mana from the opponent. They're passing it on back. Bushy Bodyguard. is actually pretty good, man, but that'll just tempt them into the board wipe. So we probably start with the swing. Yeah, when we have 2 foods and 4 mana, that's pretty good, but that'll be much better to reestablish after the fact. So we start with the swing. See what happens. See what they do here. So this is probably the counterspell turn. And the farmer, of course, would be a very good counter. Yeah, but that's probably still the attempt, right? I think so. Based on everything else in hand. It's a deduce. Farmer might hit. Maybe they want to get rid of some of their board wipes, right? Yeah, they're just going for the clue. Draw 2 for the turn is essentially what they did. So maybe it's just going to be like a Sunfall turn or something, right? 5th mana, Sunfall, get rid of these 2. Oh, back up to 18 from the opponent with Union of the Third Path. Back up to 19 because of the Cove. We find more mana, and I'm not mad about it. We just have... They kind of stopped our entire turn here, right? By gaining 9 last turn, and we have 9 on the board. We play the mana for sure. We can't go too wide here. We literally have to take the turn to play around a board wipe, I'm pretty sure. And we just don't do anything. At the very least, then, too, we'll have Tear Asunder with the kicker open. Or food, but we're probably not going to do that. Oh, and we also get to find a card off a farmer, too. That's pretty good. Tough Cookie is actually terrific against control lists because of that middle ability here. I like the Mightcaller too, but I'm pretty sure it's Tough Cookie. And I don't think we play the Tough Cookie. Bring him back down to 10. Yep, just completely playing around a board wipe, keeping the Tear Asunder. Right, so since we have 5 total mana with the banner, like next turn, for example, if they wipe the board, we can go Tough Cookie, then power up a food and swing. And then it'll get 4 through, kind of like hasty speed at that point. I mean, they have so many cards in hand. I'd be surprised if they don't deal with this. Really? Well, I mean, we don't have lethal on the board without the Tough Cookie, so I guess they're just waiting to hit more. With 6 mana open, I guess we try the Tough Cookie, full swing. They remove the big thing. Losing the Tough Cookie would be rough, but we have a lot to reestablish the board, especially with the second Bodyguard. Yeah, I guess we go for it. I guess we try, right? I have so much in hand, though. Oh, okay. So it's just a full counterspell. They still have 2 mana available. Some awkward turns for us, but I think it's best this way. Let's see what we see on the farmer. Oh wow. Okay. I think it's gonna be the Patchwork Banner. Is it? Oh, the Rotcaller could be really good too. Just more creatures to reestablish as they continuously wipe the board, maybe. I like the banner. But maybe it's the Rotcaller, actually. And maybe we can actually get the Rotcaller down this turn, too. Especially if they use spot removal on one of these. They might just take it. Down to 1 would be really good for us. So if we play the Rotcaller, I mean, the board wipe's gotta be coming, right? But if it's not, and it's just like a union, we just need more on the board. It's gotta be a board wipe. Let's just treat the Rotcaller as a free card from the farmer. And play it anyways, just establish more. Really? What just happened, dear? Look, I'll take the victory, but we're getting lucky, right? I think so. So, There was no temporary lockdown, even though this is very much a temporary lockdown style of build. We were waiting for that Sunfall the whole time too. I don't know what was in the opponent's hand. They had so many cards in hand and still 2 mana open, no spot removal for the farmer or anything. The Rotcaller is what they conceded on, so like no board wipe in hand, I guess. I mean, at least the deck list is performing well. Like, we felt like we had a lot still in hand, right? And it felt like we were okay, you know? Like, even if they were finding a bit more, I feel like we had a relatively decent chance. I really liked that Tough Cookie. I think that was a great counter spell from the opponent. But yeah, Tough Cookie, once you have enough mana, just get like a 4/4 through on the same turn. 22 mana, we might need to discuss 23 mana for this list, but I think 22 should still be fine. But like this hand, for example, if we don't see our third, this is pretty bad. And we have a lot of 2-drops to draw into as well, though. The opponent goes first. We should probably mulligan. But look, we got 2 victories in the first 2 games. I say we push the deck to its limits. See what happens here. Yeah, so many 2-drops to draw into. A lot of land to draw into as well. And with the opponent going first, if it's mono red, then we're in trouble even if we mulligan, right? So Mentor was a really good draw. Oh, it's going to be Gruul. Gruul colors from the opponent. It's going to be a good swing regardless because we don't plan on blocking with the Mightcaller. So even with Monstrous Rage or Giant Growth or whatever they could be rocking, just got to keep that Mightcaller on the board. All right, down to 12. Turn 2 for us. Another 3 drop off the top is not great. Tear Asunder could hit the monster roll. That's not going to do much for us, but Mentor is going to be the blocker. And I don't plan on blocking with Mightcaller. We could potentially die next turn, but that's okay. Let's swing. Yeah, they could drop mana and then just pop off with 3 different spells on these Swift Spears. But maybe one isn't trample for the Swift Spear number 2 and we still have a chump then or something. Yeah, the safest bet would be keep all blockers available back. Because also burn spells exist, right? But when you're going in like this and you're in danger either way, then sometimes the risky plays are the best plays. Hey, Ruby, nice. They're going to use that maybe. Use the mana for a Swift Spear. Wow. Okay. Well, luckily, they don't have great swings now because our Mentor... Oh, I'll take that trade all day, right? Get that trample off the board. Yeah. We take that trade. It's a 1 mana card for our 2 mana card, but we do get that food as well. Valley Rotcaller. Look, man, at least it's a 2-drop. It's a 2-drop that buffs our Mightcaller. Both of these can get picked up by Lightning Strike pretty easily. Say we got lucky last turn, not taking too much damage. Are we going to get lucky again after this? Maybe. I'm going to take that swing. All right, the opponent's down to 13. Now, again, I believe we could technically lose this turn. We got 2 cards in hand. That doesn't mean it can't be like a Ren's Resolve style effect too. Find more off the top. Gold Vein Hydra. Wow. All right, we'll take the 3. Keep the Rotcaller around. We need that 3rd mana off the top, and we find it. Very nice, dude. Now we have some decisions here, right? Because, yeah, we have some decisions. So this will be a 4/4 trample. That's pretty good. The Seedmiser doesn't do too much this turn, does it? So it's 1 extra squirrel, but we might lose some squirrels anyways. The banner's not bad. It's probably the Dreyleader. Buff the Mightcaller. We do have the swing on the Rotcaller, but they do have the double block. Without a trade, we'd go back up to 10. I'm swinging with the Mightcaller again. Call me crazy, dude. Because they could double block. No. No, the double block gives them a whole bunch of treasure. We don't know what's left in their hand. This is actually the turn to not be greedy with it, right? Because the Hydra... 3 tapped treasure tokens, then they untap on the opponent's turn with 2 cards in hand. Maybe they wouldn't have anything to do with all that extra mana. So now is an okay time to block the Hydra. We don't know what's in their hand. Maybe we let the Hydra go through and attempt the Swift Spears. They easily buff 1 Swift Spear, choose which one they want to kill. Probably the Squirrel, so the Rotcaller does less. We're taking 3. Oh, this is tough. We had some tough decisions here, man. For sure. I think we lose a creature here no matter what. But I think the Swift Spears are the best block for the turn. And I hope that is acceptable. Because I think it's less likely. I think they could easily protect the Hydra and not have it die, and that has Trample and Vigilance. Whereas it's much harder for them to protect these Swift Spears. I think both of these Swift Spears are likely going to die this turn. But we'll see, right? I mean, they have 4 open mana with the Ruby. And 2 cards in hand. Honestly, if it was a buff spell, they would have had a pretty good full swing here. They go Overprotect, guys. Wow. That's good. That's really good for the opponent. So if they wanted to do the combat trick, but if they would have done Overprotect first, the Ruby would have gotten the +2/+2 buff as well. I think that would have been a pretty good full swing for the opponent. But we also don't know what else is in their hand. Oh, a Picnic Ruiner. Okay. Hard-hitting questions, pretty good. Okay. Okay. So we can get the Patchwork Banner down now. The Rotcaller isn't doing too much. Do we call... Yeah, Rotcaller just chilling. I think we'll call Squirrel anyways. I think that's okay. We probably want to hit... Yeah, getting our Squirrels a little boost is better than the Mightcaller going to a 5/5. Hard-hitting question. We could take out the Hydra. They get 3 treasure tokens. That's so sketchy, but now they're top decking. So what are the odds that they find something to actually use all that mana for, you know? I think it'd be pretty easy for them to give Double Strike to the Ruiner too. I think we finally take care of the Hydra. We're at 5. 3 tap treasure tokens. Okay. Okay. Do we swing? Probably not. Probably not. Yeah. Like, we've been risking early swings. We've been trying to be the aggressors, but the truth of the matter is we're just not. We're on the defense for sure. I think the Hydra was the hit since their hand was empty. If they still had a couple cards in hand, that would have been pretty sketchy for me still, and I think we would have hit the Picnic Ruiner. Wow, we actually held them back for the turn, guys. 4th mana off the top is not bad, because now we'll have Camellia and the ability as well. And we don't have to activate that ability. We can actually just gain off the food. That would probably be a little bit better here. Right? Just gain off the food. I'm going to do that before combat because I plan on a swing with the Rotcaller. Double block into the Rotcaller. Never mind. Well, yeah, no. That's acceptable. Now we should be okay, man. We'll see, we'll see. They could still really pop off with that Picnic Ruiner's Double Strike. They take it down to 3. We have 2 creatures on this board. Are we gonna die? Holy cow, man. Dude, what is even happening? I feel like I'm playing it relatively poorly, you know what I mean? But maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm being too hard on myself, and these weird decisions and weird lines are just working out in our favor. Yeah, cool. I liked the opponent's deck list. I love the Gold Vein Hydra in here. Very nice. The Gold Vein Hydra was actually that was a tough one. Like, that was definitely... I wonder how many of these are in here. But no, yeah, the Gold Vein Hydra. So I wonder then, too, if they have other means of giving their creatures double strike packed in there as well. Because when you have the Gold Vein Hydra's trample and vigilance, then giving double strike to that is actually pretty sick, right? Mid-video pack. Let's do it, guys. Bloomburrow pack is that as well. While I have you here in the middle as well, make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too if you're interested in joining either of those up or supporting the channel that way. And then also, guys, if you like the video, make sure you drop it a like. And then if you like the channel, then consider subscribing. And thank you. Starfall Invocation. I think that's my third one, maybe. It's a pretty neat board wipe. We'll find a thing to do with it every now and then. All right, let's see if we can get one more great game in, guys. And if it's fast, maybe we'll continue. Maybe we have time for 2. 2 mana in our opener. A lot of 2 mana cards. We go first. We find our third, we're fine. I feel like I've been saying that a lot today. All right, we'll keep it. We'll see what happens. Mudflat Village. Okay, another 3 mana card off the top, and we go for the Rotcaller. Yeah, our top end, just a couple 4-drops with the farmers. Bodyguard can kind of be considered a top end too. Another Rotcaller. So we attempt it before combat because it definitely affects the combat. No more lies. Number 1, out of the opponent's list. Get that swing. Okay, 3rd mana off the top would of course be amazing. Passes back. All right, we attempt the Bodyguard. Definitely a little bit of a worse counter than a Rotcaller, right? So see what ends up happening to our Rotcaller that's on the board since they let the Bodyguard hit the board. Going to be an Elspeth Smite. Hold up. Are people back to the Elspeth Smite now? I feel like we've been seeing a lot more of that recently. A Deduce as well. Oh boy. There's our 3rd. Overseer, Seedmiser, 3 mana open. We should get that Seedmiser down. We should. I think the Menace might actually matter too. Sometimes these rock instant speed token spells, and we don't know entirely what's in the opponent's deck list, so I think that Menace could potentially matter. All right, we got that through. They're going to draw off the clue. They have Restless Anchorage, Bandit's Hall. They still have 3 mana available. Pass it back. Hard-hitting question. Right, so only 5 on the board. I'm afraid to go wide. We might save our Overseer and just go Tough Cookie for the turn because we need to get some food down. Hard-hitting question, not having a huge target here. Board wipe is still very scary, but I think like getting some food onto this table is going to really matter with the Seedmiser and everything especially. A 3-for-1 would be devastating, but it is what it is, right? Like we know it's coming at some point. They do have the 2 open for the incubator. At this point, cut down is not terrible as long as we don't have a black source on the board that can actually play the cut down. Uh-oh. Right, so cut down isn't terrible to hit the Restless Anchorage, but without actually being able to cast it, go ahead, power up the Phyrexian 3/3. Luckily, we still have Menace, but I don't know, man. I don't know. These were pretty precise, you know what I mean? Our deck list is gonna really struggle. Season of Weaving. What did they do? They drew 3. And they copied the Bandits Hall. Wow. That's pretty good, man. Valley Mightcaller. Nice. Not terrible. So we have a great turn. We do. And go hard-hitting question, take out the 3/3. They have 3 mana open, so we're going to try our best to do this in the proper order. Now with the forage on the Camellia, we want to keep that open in case they target the Camellia, to keep as much in hand as possible to reestablish after a second board wipe. It's like we're going to get that 3 through. And the question is, do we just want to keep the 2 open, or do we want to get the Mightcaller and the Overseer down? I think we just keep the 2 open and really hope that that forage is excellent for us. How do you guys feel about that? It's going to be Union of the Third Path. Bro, going back up to 14 here. The opponent has so much mana and so many cards in hand. Alright, we're going to go for the forage. Only have 1 card in the grave. That's weird. 1/1 Squirrel. Is now a 2/2 Squirrel with Menace. Vinereap Mentor. I don't mind seeing all these extra creatures that we'll be able to play when it comes time. Yep, we start with the swing. And see what happens here. Elspeth's Smite number 2, guys. Couple crimes committed for their Bandits Hall. We do get the 2 through. And now it really isn't a great time to reestablish the board. But if we don't do something, the opponent's controlled us. I say second board wipe. And we'll concede and try 1 more game. Even though we're 37 minutes in, I'm having a friggin' blast with this squirrel list, man. If they miss the board wipe, I'm going to stick with it and see what we can get done. Because I think there's a possibility that we can actually push that damage through. It's a second sunfall. Well, I no longer think there's a possibility. So let's go ahead and see what's off the top and then try to get 1 more game in as well. I think you guys will appreciate that instead of me sticking this one out, right? Hey, Cavern though. Bristlebud Farmer can come down. Look at this. Plant. Haha, you can no longer counter my Bristlebud Farmer. But no, we're still gonna concede. There's gonna be too much to get around here for sure. Just more spot removal, chump blockers for days. They're gonna keep their hand beautifully stocked this whole time, right? So I'm gonna drop them the GGs, guys. I think that's totally acceptable. All right. 4 games in, 3 victories for some reason, and then 1 loss so far. And I wouldn't be surprised if we lose the last game as well. But like at the same time, I'm just not disappointed by how the deck list performed at all. There is one big thing, and that is I think we need to consider the 23rd mana. And if we go up to the 23rd mana, then maybe we drop one of the banners. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now, but also you see 2 here, and this is going to probably be another game where we're like, well, we'd really like to see our 3rd. We go first. We're going to give it a shot. Okay. Probably going to go right into the tough cookie, honestly. But we'll see what we're curving out into. Oh. Ruthless Negotiation. I bet the Pawpatch Formation isn't going to do too much for us here. If it's mono black. I guess it could be Orzhov. Well, hopefully I don't regret that. The formation. I don't want to lose the farmer right now. Okay, 3 mana card. See, that's kind of what's been happening a lot. Because now we're sweating. Are we going to see our 3rd in time? Are we actually going to curve out? So I can see the 23rd in here. We have a pretty low casting cost, though. No, get out of my hand, opponent. I don't know why I still gasp at the Deep Cavern Bat. Because it's just like everywhere all the time. But like it's still such a shock. Because like you're looking at your hand and you're like establishing a plan. But then that bat comes down and ruins the plan. That's a tough decision for the opponent, because if we miss a land, then the bodyguard's the pickup, right? But if we hit the land, which 3-drop are we going to play next turn? And that's going to be the leader, probably. It'll come down as a 3/3 and then any squirrel. So they're going to bank off of us missing the land. And we do find the land, but it's a tapped land. Oh, no. Look, man, we can't complain too much. At least we found the mana. At that point, we will swing. They take this likely. I'd be shocked if they blocked, right? Because then we'd still have the bodyguard play for the turn. Liliana, right on time, opponent. Opponent, you got that, Liliana? I have hard-hitting question in here. It is Liliana, right on time. We're gonna keep the food back. We don't want to gain 3 life right now until we're actually getting some extra things established here. Mana off the top wouldn't be bad, but well, untapped mana off the top wouldn't be bad. We have a problem where we're gonna get very close to a Liliana lockdown state if we can't take care of that. Like the trample on the farmer would be much better. All right, we're gonna get the Seedmiser down. Maybe we can get a little bit of a larger leader. Maybe the menace. Well, yeah, the menace on the Seedmiser can also help us get rid of the Liliana. So worst case scenario, they go plus on Liliana, then play Liliana number 2 -2. That would be devastating. And very possible too. So I think the discard will be the Overseer. That's really tough though, man. This could help us restock our hand. I don't want to lose the farmer though. The farmer also helps us restock our hand. But we also might not see the 4th mana in time though. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, if they go Liliana number 2, then we're in that lockdown. I think it'll be very hard to get out of that. With our current board state and everything. Their discard was an Informant. Deep Cavern Bat. Oh, they probably take the leader and bank off of us missing the land, right? I think so. Yeah. Yeah, we got to deal with these bats. Got a little bit of removal packed in. Hopefully, hey, hard-hitting question. First of all, we can swing successfully, take care of the Liliana. And then we want to hit the Bushy Bodyguard probably and actually just play it for the turn. That way we have more than one creature on the board. So we start with the swing, see what happens, because they still have 1 black mana open, which I don't know what that would be, but... Alright, Menace gets through. And yeah, we do it this way. That way we can actually just play more than... Yeah, have more than one creature on the board is what I'm trying to get at here. I suppose we should actually forage as well. And I'll keep the food on the board. No, I won't. I'll sacrifice the food. That way we get the 1/1 off the Camellia. Yeah, not bad. I can only imagine this farmer is not going to stick around in our hand, but kind of bones. They pass it back. Bristlebud's around, but that's it. Tear Asunder isn't that great. We can forage at instant speed. This is a full swing, right? This is a full swing. The death touch, we don't care. Because of all the menace, like they might double block. Ah, removal. Why? It's no longer a full swing, but I'll think about it. I'll think about it here. We definitely want to do this because we have nothing else for the turn. And they no longer have menace is the problem here too. This is a good trade here. They probably just take the 2 successfully. More spot removal for this guy is a similar concept to just trading into tiny bones. All right. All right, the 2/2 traded with the tiny bones instead. Liliana, no, they did have a second one in hand, or they saw it in the recent turns. Uh-oh, guys. Uh-oh, we're in danger. They go back up to 18 here as well. Bushy Bodyguard is just not gonna do it. I think we need 23 mana, guys. I do. We played 5 matches, and every single one I'm like, well, more mana off the top would be pretty good, right? So I do think we want 23. I don't know what to trade out yet, but it's probably the banner. We should play the Bodyguard just to get something down, even though it wouldn't be bad to play as a 4-drop. Like, we don't know how much of our hand will actually be sticking around, too. So Bristlebud Farmer would still be awesome to get down. But Tear Asunder picking up the Shieldred would be pretty good, too, if we see mana. So either one. But unfortunately, I think we lost. I think we lost pretty good here. We do find the 4th mana, so we do get a chance to exile the Shieldred, swing at the Liliana. They trade with the Bat. We get the Honored Dreyleader back. If they see mana off the top, we lose it anyways. All right, let's take care of that Shieldred. Dude, I feel like we're putting up one heck of a fight still in these matches. This is not a bad trade for us. Oh, we lose it anyways from the +1 with the Liliana. Well, was there a better way of doing that? Well, either way, they found a Bandit's Talent off the top too, so... well, either way, whatever we were getting into our hand, we were losing. Untapped mana off the top would be Restless Cottage, swing at the Liliana.
You won't be outsmarting me.
It is, it's untapped mana. Dude, we have to go up to 23, right? There's too many games where we're just banking on more land. Get that Liliana out of here. And does it really matter what we pick up from the grave against this? I guess it might. I guess we'll start picking up some deep cavern bats. Alright, Bandit's Talent is of course an issue. But we do have life gain packed in. They're going to start drawing some extra cards. Down to 10. We find a Vinereap Mentor. We're just going to go ahead and power up Cottage. Wait, are we? Is that what we're doing? We go down to 9 and we discard the Mentor. They're at 19. If we did more damage, this would be much better to power up. But maybe just playing the Mentor to establish something is a little better here. And we can start gaining some life off of at least one of these foods. I guess that's okay. Now they start restocking their hand really nicely. Liliana number 3. Luckily we have this cottage and a bunch of extra food generation.
But I'm taking the credit when we Haven't you ever heard of
Yeah, we're gonna gain. Back up to 13. Back down to 11. Patchwork Banner. We'll have 2. We won't have enough to power up Cottage. It doesn't really matter. We have to attempt Cottage at the Liliana. Like, no matter what, Liliana has to come off of this board. Spot removal. Bro, this entire game I've been gasping. Like, number 1, it was Deep Cavern Bat, but like, why am I surprised? And then number 2, the well-timed spot removal, and another instance of like, why am I surprised by that, you know? I think this is going to be the opponents, guys. We're about 50 minutes into. I think that they can get the damage through, so I'm going to let them play it out, I guess, maybe. Oh, Valley Rotcaller is pretty good. They have the -2 there. No, I should concede since we're getting late into the video. Let's drop them the GGs and go over this deck list one more time, and then we'll try to figure out what we want to trade out for the 23rd mana. Yeah, I think all 5 of those games, we were really hoping to find mana on time. And in a deck list where you're trying to find mana on time, the safest bet is 24, right? Ooh, leveling up, getting quests done, beautiful. But this is a pretty low-cost deck overall, even though we were really wanting more mana in a lot of those. The average is 2.0, but it was surprisingly expensive for what we were trying to do. I think it is the banner. And if we're going up mana, we have 70% green, 38% black sources here. We have 70% green, and we have 30% black sources. What mana do we go up? Cavern? The opponents did have some counter spells today. No More Lies. Cavern to 3? Could be okay, but you know what we ended up seeing in one of those games too? The Mudflat Village not being able to cast the cut down, which of course is one of the reasons why we only have 1 cut down anyways. But so now there's Village 1 and 2 and 3 Cavern that can't help us cast the hard-hitting questions, the cut downs, the Tear Asunder, and the Pawpatch Formation. Outside of that, they can still help us cast the Boots and the Banner. More likely than not, though, Cavern of Souls isn't going to help us cast the Tough Cookie. I mean, we only have a couple of these anyways. The Camellia is probably good at a 3 of, but if you don't have all 3 of these, this is a rare. This could be the card that you drop for the Banner instead. Like, we went down a Banner, but if you don't have all 3 Camellias, I don't know how necessary it is. It seems pretty good. Gonna have a huge target on his back. Gets picked up by Lightning Strike, which is like a 4 of everywhere in every red deck, right? Except for some of my recent red decks, I guess. But usually we see 4 of Lightning Strikes. So, yeah, if you don't have 3 of these and you only have 2, I would highly recommend just putting the 2 in and just doing the 3 banners instead. I think that would be totally fine. Outside of that, yeah, the banner was surprisingly slow for what I thought the deck was going to do. I thought we were going to go squirrel, 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 banner, boom, buff the board state. It's just not how it ends up panning out, though, when the opponents have so much removal all the time. And by the time you do get to that turn 5, is it going to be a Sunfall? Or you go first. It's you take your 3rd turn, and it's pretty decent. And then the opponent takes their 3rd turn, temporary lockdown. And I brought up temporary lockdown so much. There's a huge reason why I got these Tear Asunders and the Pawpatch Formations in here, even though we didn't actually get to see it take out a temporary lockdown today. I do think that's going to do the thing. So I'm going to keep them. So I think I like the trade out. We now have 23 mana. I mean, I was complaining about it in every game. I think that that's necessary. Bristlebud Farmer. A pretty good card, man. Now that we have more mana, could we go up more Bristlebud Farmers? Probably not. Just what the curve is trying to do, you know? I like it, though. The only cards that help us restock our hand is the Farmer and the Overseer. The Farmer is also not a squirrel. When it comes in, it doesn't buff the Mightcaller. It doesn't give us more damage with the Rotcaller either. Small artifact theme. I really do like the 2 tough cookies. 2 food for the price of 1, and then every now and then, especially if you're up against control, like those Azorius controls that we saw, it's going to be a moment in that late game where you can play the tough cookie, power up a 4/4, swing for victory. I do like the 1 Restless Cottage still, too, especially now that we have 23 mana packed in. I like the changes. I do. 60% win rate in... I'm sorry, guys. I keep going back because I don't like how I've sorted the deck list. Yeah, 60% win rate in the 5 games that we displayed. Kind of felt like we got lucky in the victories. And honestly, maybe a little unlucky in the losses. A little bit back and forth. Probably how the deck list is put together then. Yeah, not bad. Guys, let me know in the comments. What would you add or take out? How does your squirrel deck list look? I am very curious. Yeah, we don't get to see many squirrels like at all. How about this Bushy Bodyguard? Also a thing to think about for the top end here too. If you save it for the offspring, could be another 4-drop. Probably another reason to not go up the third Bristlebud Farmer. What other squirrel could this be? There's a couple other squirrels. There's squirrels that help us ramp and stuff that we could consider. So that's something. I think those squirrels that help us ramp are rare though, so that's also something to consider, right? Yeah, let me know. Like, there wasn't too much in the honorable mentions. What should have at the very least been in the honorable mentions too? Either way, guys, if you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.